die Leute.
Okay.
Okay, let's enter. Okay, Tanya, you let people in. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome
Hello.
to our Agentic AI Masterclass session for our Trust and Pay Hackathon. Welcome, everyone. We are glad and very honored to have Peter Busch here from Bosch Digital. Oh, not from Bosch, from Bosch. Sorry, Peter, from Bosch, but representing here also Bosch Digital. I hope that's correct. Okay. Yeah, we have some people joining. Thanks for joining us here. Oh, Andreas, nice to see you. What a surprise. Surprise from Germany. Thanks for joining. Okay, we cannot hear you, but you're muted.
The session will also record it, so I think we can start. Then the people that come later, they can have the review and the recording.
Exactly. So thanks a lot for joining us today. We have Peter Busch, like I said, from Bosch, and he's representing Bosch Digital from Germany for our hackathon and for the track Agentic AI in our Trust and Pay hackathon. So Peter will give us an overview about the Fetch.ai platform. Fetch.ai is a decentralized agentic AI platform that we would like to use, and he will give us some insights how we can use it for our hackathon to create concepts around this track. And with that, I would like to, just say, give a welcome to everyone from W3FF, venture builder operating in Saudi Arabia. We are like a bridge between the DACH region, Europe, and Saudi Arabia, and bringing startups and building startups in Saudi Arabia. And with that, I would like to hand over to Peter.
Okay, thanks again, Sabrina, for having me here. I'm representing Bosch Digital for part, but I'm coming from automotive strategy. So I'm a director of technology management for technology there at the automotive strategy at Bosch. And of course, we are working closely with Bosch Digital but with all the other business units as well. Okay, so why I'm here today is really I would like to give you an overview and a little bit deep dive into the tech stacks of Fetch.ai and talk about it later, why and how this really all comes together and how we can use that. Why we do that here, definitely what you see already in the first slide. We started out years ago, almost 10 years, I think, looking into digitalization between cars, infrastructure, and people. And what, of course, is the main thing that before all the AI hype and before all the other talked about agents, we were talking about how can we digitally, trustfully, and fast and safe connect cars with the infrastructure, but again, always leave the control to the driver, to the user of these systems, and not any other centralistic platform or any other data platforms or so what you normally see out there if you go into digital businesses. So here you see the three dimensions here, talking about people, organization, and things, and all these can get digital identities, and that's exactly one of my main areas. However, as I said before, we now all talk about AI agents, and so we started since years again to talk about as well how we can combine all these technologies. And so you get a fast overview of what we're gonna cover today. And the main thing really is how we come to trustworthy agentic AI. What does it mean in the first place? So the rationale of AI agents and how to use them in our classic big industry. So why should we use it? How can we use it? What should we don't? What don't we should do? What are Fetch.ai agents? Because there are a lot of different AI agent frameworks, and why we're going to use especially these ones, and how we're going to use these. And again, how to use them, and how to create them to really code with them, and as well build our products and services with it. Yeah, so this is really a very, very interesting thing, and it's not that difficult as it sounds like. Again, what is agent worth? You're going to find out about that later, because this is one of the typical specifica of the Fetch.ai ecosystem. And again, one very, very interesting thing, but you can't go very much deep into detail, what is ACE-I1? So this is really a large language model in behind how to use such a typical AI model to interact with agents and to interact with our products and services. Again, the goal here is really, I would like to give you a short overview, how to experiment that in the future and how to use these and use it with more complex agent interactions. This is again too short today, but you get a first hint how to start with it. And again, how and where to look at to come to more sophisticated projects with these tech stacks. And definitely what is else out there, because it's a plethora of different tools and other things you could use later. So why we at Bosch are using it should be quite clear, because Bosch is a huge, I would say, very broad company with a broad portfolio. And definitely we are looking a lot in the digitalization process in all our different sectors, what we are looking at. And the main things of the future, the main problems we really see is digitalization, how to come to these processes. But of course, circular economy, CO2 reduction, climate change things is one of our top priorities. But again, where do we need as well digital identity or trustworthy digital identities? Everywhere where we need to authenticate ourselves and where we need to do trusted interaction with the infrastructure, with other persons, with cars and other digital connected devices and services. But again, internally, of course, like e-payment, e-invoicing, e-customers, that's where the company ID comes into place when we talk about supply chain. And all of that is as well on our agenda. And this was really as well supported in the last years by upcoming EU business regulations. So you all know the bureaucracy is quite hefty as normally. But this time, this really, really helps the industry here, because we have clear rules how to use identification, authentication, digitalization with these tech stacks. And the main thing here is really to help the industry, not to hinder it, and not to use always the same centralistic platforms which we have out there. So we'll talk about that maybe later more as well. I talked about regulation, don't go into detail here, just to give you an overview. We have really a lot of corporate sustainability reporting regulation things, how to report what, how to be safely and know exactly what we need to document and report to the government, what kind of data we can use and we should not use or must not use to do new business, new services, and to help maybe as well users. That we need exactly what kind of data we gonna need. We can as well consider to use. And on the other side here, the EIDAS 2, which is really one of my topics, how to come to an, I would say, digital identity process. And these are all these regulations are already entered in force. So really we have already to deal with it. So just as a side blank, why we're gonna use these technologies in combination. And again, it started not only in the EU, it's beginning to get more important worldwide to use these technologies together. Of course, North America as well have their mobile driver's license already out there. Australia, New Zealand, all the Asia Pacific countries are coming as well here. And as well, if you look really into the European Union, what is happening here, we talk about digital wallets. And now really already it gets clear why we need maybe AI and AI agents for that. And that's why the title is trustworthy. Whenever we're gonna use AI agents anywhere in our worldwide international businesses, products, services, we need to exactly know who's doing what with these, because we always talk about interconnectivity, the internet, and a connected cloud service and all that, and we never know who's really on the other side. If we just use some agent which comes there, some model, some AI things that we could work with, and if we have an ID really connected to our products, which we digitally can control from our standpoint, and then an AI agent has some kind of access to this ID, then it makes clear that this could be a trustworthy interaction between two agents who know each other and know exactly where they're coming from, what they're allowed to do, and whatnot. So, saying that as an intro, we now need to go a little bit deeper into what are AI agents. So, what is really the basis, what we're talking about today, and what it has to do with the digital identity part I just explained. You may know it or a little bit more or deeper. I would like to get you a brief generic overview, because when we talk about AI models, everybody's talking about ChatGPT and all that. There are huge language models behind these. There you have, it depends on what kind of models you look at. You have all the specific knowledge and were trained for some specific things. And really, when you try to use this for other things, like just not only this generic purpose where they're built for, then it's quite hard to adapt them. Now, if you would like to really have some specific use case somewhere in automotive, for example. And again, normally when we talk about machine learning or very, very specific models that the industry normally is using, so we have normally really a very focused task that we have to accomplish, and normally we can't use these generic huge models for it. So what we need then from an AI agent who is using maybe these models, then we have a much more context-sensitive acceptance or approach here to use. We can directly go in a task-oriented style, so agents can decide and can do actions on their behalf, and exactly to that what we're gonna ask them to do. And in the background, and again, they can have access to these AI models they need, and not really just a generic purpose. Really, they will find these informations what they then as well can use the best. Again, it's just here to have the overview again. Why are they so unique? When we look at really directly in the AI model, yeah, the autonomy is really just limited, because you have a general purpose model, and it just is doing that what you ask it to do. Yeah, really, it doesn't normally don't do anything alone in the background. It does a lot in the background, but not really autonomously. And if you look a little bit more into generative AI, then of course more happens in the background. It's a little bit more adaptive, and you have still the very narrow scope, because it was trained for a specific purpose. Then you can really do this and that. But again, today we have larger and larger models, so the adaptability on the scope is widening up. That's true. However, if you look at an AI agent, though, the autonomy, of course, is really huge, because the agent can do that on your behalf if you use digital identity, really autonomously, and do just what you tell it. And really in the background, if you have to do anything else, especially in the car, for example, when you have your hands on the driving wheel and you need to do something else on the backside, then the agent can maybe help you and do that. And the scope definitely is exactly what you tell them to do and what you're going to define later. And you can look a lot of in different directions. So just as an example, when we need to book a trip, for example, then definitely what we need to have here is, okay, what might be maybe the cheapest flight, what are the best options here, and again, what are some informations which is in the huge models behind already, the historical pricing and stuff. Then definitely in generative AI, you have then some kind of a plan created. You can get a travel plan out on your specific preferences. But the main thing, yeah, when agents come really into your view, into your sites, then you have to really not only discuss with them, so really they do the task in the background, and they really are not only exactly following a script, they do a lot more autonomously. And so again, here the 3 steps definitely is then the activity part. Yeah, so you find an AI model, you have a plan, but the agent on its behalf does really the activities, books the flight and the hotel, sets reminders, emails confirming details, and can act even more. So that's what we mean when we say broader scope. If something happens which is not really planned, or some unexpected things happening, the agent can react and can actively really find another solution or do conflict management or anything like that, if you have then definitely prepared it to do so, or if you have the right agents as well to do. Another very specific example we looked at really already here is a task-specific decentralized AI agents for the car, how to find charging ports, for example. So what is really interesting and very important, you need to find who are what are your preferences to find the right data, what you need, how to find the right charging stations, how far are them. Then the agent exactly needs to know where are you at the moment. So information is very important. And again, it needs to make decision already on your specific context, what kind of charging pole you need, and exactly which one to select. And again, what are the reservation agreement conditions and all that. So here again, it needs to help you in doing that. Then if it finds the charging pole, there is some kind of a communication. And when I always talk about decentralized, what I mean with that is really, you do not have to trust one central instance to do the communication, to look in one platform where all your data is then stored at the end in one, I would say, centralistic platform organization. Trust organization is having all the documentation, all the control over your decisions and all that. You can do the decentralized in your car, in your wallet, with your identities. So your idea, again, this is now the rationale why I explained the digital identity protocols and processes we had in the beginning. This ID, what you now have in the car, in your wallet as a user, maybe as well in the infrastructure, they can then directly talk to each other and extend, I would say, the activities and the tasks they have, because they are authenticated and authorized to do some specific things. And again, this maintains data sovereignty. You are controlling your own data. And why I'm talking about decentralized here, you can avoid logins. You do not always be logged into other centralistic platforms, which you can't control, or which they control your data. And once you are in such a centralistic platform, you're tied to that. You are logged in, and you can't normally not quite easy get out again. Right. Again, that's what I already said. So the main thing, again, to combine or to repeat here, decentralized agents, they don't tell how to do a task. Yeah, so they just not give you a script or a plan or so how to do. They do it on autonomously way protocols, and really do that and control it. And this control really is very, very interesting, very, very specific. This means I would say the control you give to that agent, of course, is very important. Yeah, so it can do anything, and if you give him your credit card, maybe if you give him your ID and all the other information, then you really need to trust that agent, because a lot of things can happen in the background if you not really trust that agent. Okay, so what we gonna do with it, or what is some of these, I would say, perspectives or scenarios we could think about. Here's some very specific roadmap, what normally describes the life cycle of e-mobility ecosystem. So normally you have really the first ideas of how to use batteries in the e-vehicles, how to use batteries in houses, what to use with a grid, a smart grid environment around you once you have a lot of e-vehicles connected. And there again, it's all a lot of different integration parts here. And normally you have a lot of different products and services helping you. For example, can you maybe integrate your e-vehicle system in your smart home? So charging, bidirectional charging and so on, using maybe your house battery. But again, on the other side, what kind of different services around charging could you imagine? Yeah, when you go to huge charging poles, what kind of data which gets collected when we talk about battery twins, for example, and so on and so on. A lot of different areas which maybe come together. And what we need here definitely is a huge cross-sectoral multi-stakeholder approach, because we need to talk to a lot of different people here, different companies, different stakeholders, which then can come together and give me a very new, interesting view on new business. And if you then exactly combine these different technical possibilities we talked about, like these decentralized digital identities, which the EU is rolling out at the moment for your car, for the person, for the house. But be aware here really that currently we only talk about person IDs, of course. The wallet for the person is then definitely coming this year. When we talk about digital identities for cars, for buildings, and all the other stuff, what I already have mentioned here, this is something which comes in the future. However, we're going to use the same tech stack. That absolutely makes sense, that the driver can connect to infrastructure with the same tech stack, decentralized, than he's using for its own mobile driver's license, for example, or its own ID card, and so on and so on. But what you can see here, and this nice symbol for these agents here, can help you to combine all these different tasks and activities of the future, what you might see and what you might have to work with. You can combine these. And if there are a lot of different agents helping you very specific on very specific tasks, and they can communicate with each other, they need to do this, of course, in a very trustful manner. Yeah, so definitely, if you talk about, for example, here the vehicle to home integration, then your agent in the car needs to talk to the agents in the house, what kind of battery you have, what kind of charging services you can get from this house, or vice versa. Maybe you can charge battery or energy back to that house. And then again, exactly, you need to know what kind of house is that. Is this your house? Is this maybe another house where you go into sharing devices or sharing services, and so on. You think about all the other, so this is really just a brainstorming map here, where you can see what kind of different use cases and AI agents could make sense if he has access to data, access to your authenticated credentials or data that he needs, to have access to get authorized and identified, and so on and so on. So this is really a huge, I would say, interesting roadmap for the future. Just to give you the idea of where should we use AI, especially when we look at e-mobility and automotive for the future. Okay, then we have talked a lot about the motivation now and the rationale. So we need to look a little bit now deeper into the tool chain, which we have chosen to look at, amongst others, of course. But I'm coming directly from an area where we worked since years already with Fetch.ai, the company, coming from Cambridge. And we looked at that company, I think, already 10 years ago, when we had a huge project coming out of corporate research together with the different sectors in Bosch, talking about decentralization. Then we already talked about what kind of models we need in the future. So we talked a lot about what is Web3, for example, decentralized internet. How can we use better open source, and how to come back already then to data sovereignty, because we already saw a lot of I would say not the best aspects or results coming out of these massive data platforms, which already then were building. And today it's even worse that we see a huge power comes with these data platforms, and the huge login effects as well. So we need to really get the user, the end user, in focus again, and not his data on any centralized platforms logged in, but maybe doing a little bit more with its own data again. And of course, since we are an industrial company, we look for new business here, the sustainable business. And the idea was then to found a new vehicle to work in, to do collaboration, to do governance, and all that for these new technology tech stacks. And so we founded the Fetch.ai Foundation, I think 7 to 8 years ago already. And we have it as a non-profit organization based in the Netherlands, because the Netherlands is the reason we look at the whole EU regulations and different other bodies, and we found there the best body and the best regulation and governance, I would say, requirements that would work best with this specific construct. And the aim again really is to develop cooperatively that innovative technology. And very interesting, that proved that we were not really wrong with that decision. We were talking together with Fetch.ai really like 10 years ago already about AI models, agents, and all that stuff. Yeah, because as you all know, AI was not invented when ChatGPT came out. It's really there since the 80s, yeah, and 90s. So this is really something that we were using all the time already. So again, why Fetch.ai? And Humayun, the CEO of Fetch.ai, is pointing it always out that way. We're talking about an open economy here. And so really need to empower individuals, what I'm talking about, as well the businesses. And when we talk about AI solution, this will be then the solutions which come out of your own business, of your own task that you need to do, and not always the stuff that other platforms are trying to convince you, which you should use. Yeah, so really you can code a lot, and we're gonna see here in a minute how this works, that you really can build your own AI agents and your own, I would say, tool integration for exactly your tasks you need. And again, when we talk about agents, we need as well to talk about multi-agent systems, because it's exactly what really is important, that we not look at a very specific task only here. We look at a different, very heterogeneous infrastructure. We have a lot of different tasks out there, and maybe for all these, you will have agents in the future, which you can find somehow in the cloud, somehow on platforms. Talk about it in a minute as well. And there you need to find these agents. You need to know how to use them, how they are communicating to each other, execute this task, and all that. And with that, you have just a tool and not really more. What can help you optimally to, I would say, come to better products, better services, do it much faster, much more efficient, and very, very trusted and digitally. And so this is really a huge vision that we have here, definitely. Everybody in the world is looking in this direction at the moment with their own models. But again, what is really important for us here is it needs to be trusted, it needs to be data sovereign, and again, it needs to lead to, I would say, safe models which don't lock you in, which don't keep you, I would say, tied into other platforms where you can't get out anymore. Yeah. Good. Once we have a basic understanding why we should use agents and what kind of agents we could use, of course, there are a plethora of different tech stacks out there, of course. And what we're looking really at is some specific, I would say, task areas, how to use agents together. And of course, we're going to use other agent technologies as well. And so again, we are looking at ways how to interconnect these different agent technologies. And you all know the others, what you can see here. And again, the basis technology, I don't go into detail here, but all they as well have their specific basic technology. And sometimes we need to understand what kind of different technology or tech stacks you have here as a basis. And when it comes to the main or the basic technology, they all talk about the same technologies, but just train their own models, do it their own way, using their own processes, and so on and so on. So I think what we should see here is they can be combined. And when you look at the right side here, that's what we have discussed already in defining how to use it and where to use it. All these different steps here below is where we use AI already for years, because definitely in machine learning procedures, in how to find parts, specific parts while producing them and all that, how to use AI in information management and so on. This is always done already since years, and which is really interesting, I would say more and more getting tangible, is AI as part of a product, which we definitely can sell. And so here I'm not talking only about efficient ways how to develop these things, how to do an efficient engineering of stuff, but again, as well, having it as a part of the product. And that again, when we talk about mobility, it's really, really important that we talk about trusted AI here as well, that we talk about safe and secure models, because if something is on the road, especially in a car, then you really have to trust it. And then you need to prove that that model or that agent or that product is not doing something wrong, with your data, with the situation which appears on the road, and so on and so on. Again, this is clear why we should be in a trustful way here. So, and once, if we just to give you a differentiation, how we can differentiate different tech stacks, you could look here at the first generation, the custom chatbots. We all started really using ChatGPT, just discussing stuff, letting give us answers from these chatbots, and you have a lot different here already. And it's just an answering of your questions. Yeah, you do prompting, you go into the system, and then you get nice answers. The next step then really was, where it could help you a little bit more specific with these answers, like the Copilot things, where you had coding agents, then you could better manage your code, you could get better documentations directly out of that. And so this was just one step further in automation. However, it went much further when we talked about workflow agents. Here you had multi-agent systems, really already talking to each other. And we had different V2X, so vehicle to infrastructure use cases, using different sorts of agent use cases here. We have a lot of different parties here we could combine in a workflow, and we have a lot of very interesting amount of automation here already. But again, now it gets very interesting, because I underline focus on trust. When we talk about trusted economic agents, then exactly that is what we find in these Fetch.ai agents, because they do it really in a very, very specific manner. So we call this could be AI agents for digital economy. Why economy? Because Fetch started really out as a Web3 company, really defining agents and defining this technology that they do in a decentralized way. So you have some kind of a decentralized network where these agents are generated or registered. And so you have some kind of a smart contract, definitely, when you start an agent. Then with the smart contracts comes as well some kind of a possibility to pay and to get paid for. So this is really the interesting thing. We don't go deeper here, but this is really a very interesting detail, what we have in Web3, where you always have some kind of economy behind it. And of course, when you look at other models today, so we have sometimes already possibilities to pay for, but normally you have some kinds of credit card information behind it, some kind of a user account where you can have your PayPal account connected to, and all that, if you combine it somewhere on a platform. But what I'm talking here about is really a Web3, a wallet approach with your identity. You have your own money, which is tied to your account, which only you can use. And this is really much safer approach, and again as well decentralized, which is not residing with your data on some centralistic platform. However, here we can then put already this trusted economic agents. Why trust? Because it uses as well an approach of a digital identity. When you start such an agent, we talk about, as I said before, they have to involve a smart contract, which gives your agents an own unique address. And with this address, you have your own unique ID, and this is what you are working with in the future with this agent. And this definitely belongs only to you, and it resides then definitely as well in your wallet. Okay, so now we're talking about the ecosystem. What kind of tool stacks do we see when we talk about Fetch.ai? Here you have the three main components, what you can see. So the main developer platform in Fetch.ai, where all the documentation and all the different tools you can definitely find and look and learn about, is the starting point. So here you can really find a lot of very interesting hints and already cooperative style projects and work you can do. So you get your first ideas here. Then the middle part here really is the ASI1. So this is the LLM. This is the, I would say, large language model part of it. So you always can combine your agents, of course, with this model, this AI model in the background. And on the other side, the Agentverse is a platform where you can find and create your agents. You can definitely have this as a home, a marketplace for agents where you can find lots of different others. And normally how this is working, you can ask on ASI1, like other like ChatGPT, hey, I have this and this task. I want to do this and this. Then it selects the right fitting agents, which resides on Agentverse, and gives you a very interesting new approach how to use them together. So the LLM then here, what we have in the background, so we have really an intelligent interface to this Agentverse, what I just say. You'll find agents there, and you can then really look or select the ones that fit the best to your idea, your task that you would like to handle. And if you go a step further on the Agentverse, so this is really a Web 2, so it's just a classic internet platform where you can look and search in a classic platform manner all the agents you would like to see or find or work with, and create your own, of course. And an interesting thing here, that was the part of the collaboration part in the open source thing. A huge number of agents are already there from a huge community, which is growing and growing, who are developing their agents. And then you can directly look for these agents, and with the help of a very smart LLM in the background, which is definitely trained in parts of AI agents, and again, what you can definitely could need for your tasks. These two are really fitting nicely together. Then you can use this already, and you can work together with the whole ecosystem of different builders already. So the interesting part definitely is you have some kind of an integrated development environment. Yes, you can really write code and edit in the browser. I'm gonna show you in a second how that works, how you could do that and play around with it. You can deploy these agents directly here in some kind of an online marketplace. You can do this alone at your home. You can set it up on your own network or computer and in your own development environment, but you do not need to have to. You can do that all on the web browser. This is the very interesting thing which is there. Once you have created these agents there, they stay online, if you like so, and they can get detected and can work definitely together with others and do tasks and do stuff for them if they need it. However, if you think about it now, is then of course the economic part gets interesting again. So you can decide and you can define ways how you would like to get paid for your agent, maybe for the tasks he does for you. Yeah? So this is really, we can't go into detail here because this is quite interesting, very, very complicated layer, which you have to dive into the future if you want to use that. However, you can then have your own business defined on such a marketplace of finding other agents which can help you, which you buy their services. But again, you can sell your own services, and you can sell your own agents, which does stuff for others. Yeah, very, very interesting, I would say, perspective for the future. So now let's look a little bit into the code that we want to have. Since this is a masterclass, we need a little bit as well look into the gory detail. But we don't go too deep, because as you see, anyone who can read a little bit Python already understands what we have here. This is not really very complicated. What I just said, you can create agents at your home notebook. You just download Python, you just download or import the UAgents modules. Here you see, quite interesting, just a packet install of UAgents. That normally works right away. And you have a working Python environment, then you always can already start from scratch. Then you do your very, very first steps using such an agent. Yeah, you just import the modules and libraries that you need. And of course, then you create just here an agent. If you say agent has a name Bob. And that, of course, here gets very interesting again, the seed. Everybody who knows a little bit about Web3, how this is working, and normally you have seed phrases which then help you keep secret your own data. And this here, what is then used to generate your unique ID for that agent. And so exactly, you should never show, of course, that code or that passphrase or the secret seed phrase to others. However, there are other processes, of course, that are a bit more secure. And then again, just without going into detail, all you see here is the first Hello World program that you normally have with first programs. Yeah. So you have a decorator who tells you in a specific interval of 2 seconds here, for example, and it always say, hey, I'm a new agent. My name is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so which is because we defined it here, the name Bob. And then it always goes, hello, my name is Bob, in all 2 seconds. And you always have just a mail where you get the agent to run. And this is already a working agent who is there in the agent world later maybe. Here only, since you get generated here directly, this is already as well registered on the on some specific smart contract, which then gives you the idea, which is then tied to this Web3 world. And here you already have a running agent which helps or which runs directly locally on your machine. And you can use that already to say hello world. Of course, once you know about more coding and you know how to do that and combine it as well with others, definitely you can go much deeper with these things. The next step will be you can create your agents using the agent words. And as just said, this is the way how to use this Web2 platform. And then you have a lot of very interesting possibilities. Hopefully that works in a few seconds when we go directly to the demo. Normally you have this platform, and then you can see your agents, which you have created there. So we have the typical Bob and Alice example, and I already have these 2 agents coded that they can communicate to each other. Yeah, this is just one step further. But as you see here, you can directly click on Marketplace, and you have like 100,000 different other agents. Yeah, but of course you can't find them easily, and therefore again you need ASI1, because then you can ask the ASI ChatGPT, if you name so. You can ask me, hey, I have that specific problem. I would like to plan my trip to Rome, and I need to go, of course, by plane. I need a car. In Rome, I would like to have this hotel. I would like to blah, blah, blah. And then it really selects the agents that you could use to make the planning for that trip. And depending, of course, on the functionality of these different agents, you can look at them. You can see, okay, what are they doing for me? Can I use it maybe for an own application, which I would like to use later as well, or just for the time being and just using it right now? And this is what we're going to use, how we're going to use this. If you get a little bit deeper as well, when we're going to use the agent code on the agent words, It looks almost similar to what we just did. Here, of course, we do not have a local import of any modules or libraries, because this is the browser environment already. And here again, the same thing is that we now have again an agent, here another decorator, which does really when it gets a request, when there is a message coming out, because this is the typical one from the Bob and Alice example. Then the Bob agent, which was here defined, really is then awaiting messages from another one. And then here said here, oh, hello there, Alice. Then you find out, okay, Alice was sending me, and here you see a typical unique address, and this is the address of Alice. So really just coded that it's easier to understand and to read here. So here, this typical address of the agent Alice has sent me a message, and then I exactly know, okay, great, I can answer, hello there, Alice. This is exactly already an example in the agent words what we could use. Right, so let's go further. ASI 1. So, but don't hesitate really then to try it out later, because this is all really just scratching the surface, and a lot of documentation where you definitely get explained all how that is going, and how to use that is really very, very good explained, and have it later and as an overview for you. So the interface of this agentic world here is ASI 1, as I said before. And here what you normally need to do is, again, you have to read or have to go into the specific API which ASI 1 is using. And normally, you can't normally just use any LLM if you have this interface internet. There, what you need definitely is you have to have an API key. So on the website and the documentation, you already get one, some which you could use, some test API keys, just to really then put it here in. And then you already can try on a code base to use an LLM. And this is very interesting and quite easy here. You can say in this specific format, this is all JSON format later. And then you can definitely say, okay, I'm a user, and the content is, I have a question. Hey, what is agent-based AI? And this exactly then gets delivered to this LLM like a normal chat bot. And then you get a response back in JSON format, and it gets printed out. And you already have an access to LLM coded directly in the system. So this is really then done by agents as well. They're going to use it in their code. And so you can see how this could work. Agents communicating to each other. And if they need more information, if they need more data, or maybe other agents they would help them, they can definitely ask the LLM, and not only that LLM, but others as well, to get more answers, to get more information for the background. Good. What we already implemented is really trying out how to use these agents in real life. So again, this is another level again. So here, what we have here is a typical user journey. We would like to find a charging pole. We would like to find parking places, car rental, or anything like that. And here we're working together with another startup. It's called Mobix. And together with them, we coded some very interesting, one very interesting app based on the already existing Mobix app. You can find this on the App Store. And what we did here, we used agents to find charging poles or anything like that, and letting the driver exactly find that, reserve it, and as well do conflict management. And this is really one very interesting thing. So here, a very interesting setting. So we have now 3 cases. The first case was you can try out, play with the agents you locally on your notebook. You can try it out in Agentverse and having on a marketplace, seeing a lot of different agents and all the other stuff. And as well here, you can then have agents in the future on any device which has a compute unit. Yeah, think about a notebook in the car. That you then have directly agents running, connected, of course, to cloud or to LLMs or to anything like that. And there we're going to use exactly what we just described for agents, what we can need to solve or what we need to do, I would say, have tasks resolved or anything like that. So this exactly was the idea of understanding how to use already the tool chains and the different tech stacks, how to implement some more complicated apps and use cases. Again, how that normally works is here you have a simple request. Yeah, you normally ask any other machine, any other LLM or anything like that. Where is my next charging pole I need? Yeah, so here that was not part of Mobix yet. However, this is would be the next level, because there we always have a language and a natural speech interface already, and you can directly talk to him and say directly in the car, hey, find and reserve a fast charger near my office for my arrival in 30 minutes. Prioritize green energy if possible. And this already has a lot of context behind it. Yeah, you exactly need to know where you are. You need to know what kind of car you are driving, because the fast charger, what does that mean for your charging pole? You need to exactly know where your office is, and maybe what my arrival means in 30 minutes. Yeah, so really this is interesting information. Again, prioritize green energy if possible. So you normally do the simple request, and here the user and ASI1 get used. Next part, again, ASI1 helps you now to find the right agents, maybe an agent was, maybe again agents which reside in your car or in infrastructure to the interfaces you have defined. Yeah, if you want to find anyone in the infrastructure. But again, ASI1 helps you and exactly knows what you are looking for. Then it says, okay, I know how to find charging services, what that means. And I know agents who find charging poles somewhere else, somewhere out there. And then again, this is definitely a very interesting task, which needs to get solved. However, trustly, again, he will find and selects the right ones. Then the agent negotiation takes place, where I found the typical agents that I need. And the car has this EV agent, the charging pole has their charging agents. And again, these two agents now are communicating and talk to each other. And then I get a reserved slot, and maybe exactly there where I want to look like to charge. But again, then it gets interesting, because what happens if you come to a traffic jam? If something is not working, if maybe in the background, after a lot of calculation, it finds out, oops, that charging pole is not there anymore, or it's just really just dysfunction at the moment, yeah, which can happen during 30 minutes while you're driving there. Then the agents knows that and can react. And while you're driving, the agent definitely helps you to find another slot, to get a new reservation, to as well maybe get the payment back from the reservation in the first place, and so on. You see a lot of very interesting details could be coded in here now in these agents. And this is exactly the point where it gets interesting, because how they do that, how good your agent is in doing that, and how secure and how trusted you can really trust your agents, that makes the difference between, in the future, new business, new, I would say, outstanding services and agents coming from different companies who need to have that context information. We, for example, need to know what kind of hardware you need to understand how does a charging process work, and so on and so on. Again, I need to stop here, because here it gets more and more complicated, and we're going to leave that just for you an idea what needs to be solved in the future. Another very interesting example, quite fast for the last minutes. When we need to develop new software for the car, how you going to do that normally? We have a normal development lifecycle loop. We develop something, put it on the car, on the road, and let it go. And then when the software functions, does its work, then we learn what the infrastructure is maybe getting me much more input, which I haven't yet really expected or experienced. And the infrastructure has more information, and then I can use agents as well to train and to learn more out of these informations, and as well train. That was what we already did with machine learning, train the model to get better, to react to these new experiences. And again, in the future product development, we put that learned things and these new models again in the next version of the car, and new version 1.1 comes out. And this then definitely goes on the road again, and the whole loop again starts again. So this is a quite complex example as well. And there you need to do a lot of different parts of the different tech stack I just explained to you. You need to have tech stacks from the agents, you need to have the LLMs, the machine learning, and so on and so on. Again, just a few in the future, what you could do in the future with this very interesting tech stack. So now a few more minutes we have for this hours. I would stop the sharing and maybe open the prepared demo I would have for you. Let me share that again. And then you should see another window with the agent voice, hopefully. Okay. So, okay, we see it, right. So this again, this the site. Yeah, very good. This is the site what you have seen on my slide before. So this is AgentVerse, as you can see here, AgentVerse AI. And here you see my two agents, Bob and Alice. And you can already do your own. Yeah, you have just to log in, you have to register here, what you just can do. Then you can go into these different agents, look how they are working, have a profile, what this agent is doing, and then you have that code, what you have seen in my slide. Yeah, just not really that much. But what you already can do here really is, you see, this is Python code. You can start that agent now. Yeah, so this is now starting. And yet what you see here normally is you have a log, and this is now the Almanac contract. This is the smart contract I talked about, is registered. So there is now a new Bob agent out there. Yeah, and then of course I have another window, and I go into the Alice code. And again, the agent Alice code is not very much more complicated. We can start that agent again and see what happens, just for you to see, starting agent. And the other started Bob agent already, hello there, Alice, yeah, already talked to him. Then you see really what he's doing is just sending all 2 seconds the same message. And Alice, where I'm here, the agent, is receiving that information already, and then is regarding or is responding back. So we go back to the Bob side, and this is now again the Bob agent code, and here see, oh, hello there, Bob. Yeah, so Alice talked to me. So here you have very easy example. I'm gonna put that to the slides as well later, that you can see how these two scripts work together. And you see very easy, a little code. You have this nice overview here. You can start and stop these agents. I'm gonna stop this agent again. Gonna stop that agent as well. Nothing more is happening. But again, if you go back and look a little bit, here I coded a weather agents, which gets you always the weather information from current APIs. But what I wanted to show you just in the last minute, as I said, you have 2.7 million different agents here on that agent marketplace. Now, quite a lot. And you see the highest interaction numbers you get here first. SEO analysis, technical analysis agent, grammar agent, OpenAI translator, Google API, and all these different things. Yeah, so I have a lot of to find out here and to understand and try out. And here you can chat with the agents, what I said before. You can find in that marketplace anyone. And again, via ASI 1, you can, of course, find any other agent you maybe need to use or you want to have later. Just a very brief look on that for you. Go back in the presentation. I think I can make it already almost in the hour. Let's start the presentation again. And whoops, where it is. So just to have the last slide as an overview. And so now I need to find the sharing again. Bear with me. I'm here in a second. It should be there. Google Meet, and I can share it again. And window, and there we are. So So, okay, this is the Agentverse. See you the slide again, hopefully. No, not yet.
We see the Agentverse.
The Agentverse still, yeah, that didn't work. So, okay, I'm gonna share again. So normally I'm used to MS Teams. I'm sorry for that, but no
worries.
Now we go. Okay, so you should see it right now again. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now, so we are at the end of the masterclass here. So you learned a lot, I think. Yeah, you learned about agents, why we should use them, where make they sense, why are they trusted? Yeah, why it's so important to have trusted agents. And again, I talked a lot about Fetch. I talked a lot about how to create them and how to use maybe the Agentverse, maybe as well how to integrate with ASI1, their own LLM. But again, the most important thing now is experiment, start building. Yeah, so we have a lot of information on these websites. You can jump into that code that I already started here. You can have a look at the docs. You can have a look at Agentverse. Here's a very, very good resources and documentation part where all the stuff that I talked about today is again covered in more detail. And then you can really go deeper into detail and start your own agent history and agent future. Yeah. So with that, I think we're done, and just 1 minute over the time.
Thank you so much, Peter. This is German accuracy, like we know it. Thank you. I would like to add one more thing because you explained it in detail. Really, really great masterclass. For the hackathon, we just want to give you a heads up. Also create a concept and then do the agent work. I think now it's a really good time until we start on February 5 to experiment with it. And then you create a concept first, and how far you come, it's not important that you have everything set up and you have it coded, etc. We will have support from Peter. We have support from other mentors. So the concept on how you would create the complexity, how the agents should interact, what is the goal, etc. This is also very, very important. I just wanted to add that, Peter, and then also open the floor if there are any questions. And thanks so much to everyone who participated. I see that others are.
I want to just thank you. It was really interesting, especially for me as a developer. And I will definitely test it to see some proof of concepts and ideas I have, how it will help me. And it was a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Peter, even like this, virtually.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Sabrina,
thank you so much.
I see a question.
Yes. Rick, do you want to speak up? How do the agent handle memory management? Yeah, please.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Peter. It's really interesting. I haven't seen an architecture where the agents can interact with each other in one system, so that's interesting. In my also development experience, one of the most difficult parts is figuring out how, well, at least understanding how the agents handle their memory in terms of long-term, short-term, context limits, so on and so forth. How does the system kind of incorporate that?
This is a very good question. This is definitely, as a developer, one of the major question all the time, how to handle the resource that you have. There's two perspectives. If you use the development on your own machine, and then you know how Python gives you the tools to handle that, you can use all the built-in technology and modules and stuff to handle memory, consumption and all that stuff yourself. But the more interesting part is when it comes to the Agentverse. There you have, if you just look at it, yeah, and try to find out what is every there, you can there as well reserve memory. You can reserve a lot of space in the cloud and all that stuff, which is normally used here these days when you go into the web, into web cloud development. Then you can let them handle that. Yeah, so you can buy at least a memory as well as much as you would like to have. and let the agents or I would say the tools around it handle all these different complicated tasks of memory management and stuff. I can't really explain it here in detail how that works, but it's documented. You can find it.
All right, sweet, thanks. I'll check it out.
Thank you. Any more questions?
From my side,
Yes,
when I also allowed to have a question. Peter,
Please,
can you share?
Anya.
Peter, can share the slides that you
Yes.
present? I think it's very interesting to have that as a paper.
That's my intention. Definitely to have that you have already the basis and the code and all the links that I have in there. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would have a lot of questions. It's super, super interesting, and I'm looking forward, and maybe as a food for thought, inspiration for our participants. Would you share, let's say, a topic you showed this illustration? What could be a world in the future? And also, when we talked last time, you talked about autonomous driving. Do you see, and let's say, what is the next immediate step where Agentic AI, or where you would like to see in the hackathon a concept getting built up?
Yeah, we have to talk about concepts here, of course, yeah, because what we have seen here is scratching the surface, yeah, how to use it, such very interesting tools. But the future is all about autonomy, all about sovereignty. So combining the thing, how to, you just can build or talk about a perspective or a concept at a hackathon. You won't have it, as you said already, won't have the perfect product developed at a hackathon. But you can talk about, you can think yourself, what could be possible with such autonomous agents. On the other side, what need they to take into consideration when it comes to trust? They need to have this ID. How am I gonna handle my ID with others? What are the different very important next steps? Maybe there will be specific agents help you with the sovereignty, with the how to save your own data and all that stuff. So my tip here definitely would be look at different sources in the social media where a lot of the Fetch Innovation Lab is doing a lot of hackathons already. So you have lots of very, very interesting use cases there. Just follow Fetch Innovation Lab on LinkedIn. They have a plethora, like really 50, 60 great use cases already documented. So there's a lot of stuff that you can look at already, and did really cool stuff because they have done a lot of hackathons in the US, in Asia Pacific, and where else. Yeah, so exactly, you have to learn by the stuff that others already did. Maybe bring your own ideas, problems, tasks, or anything like that, and discuss it with other people how they would then use agents for. Yeah. This is exactly just too complicated to really just already answer what would be the best concept or use case.
But that's a very good inspiration. So checking that out, we will also share these resources on our hackathon platform on HackTribe. We will share it in our group, and so I think that's very good. You need to start from yourself. So what is an interested area from yourself? Maybe a real problem that you experienced yourself or in your network, and then getting inspired by Fetch.ai, what they already have on the platform, and see where there would be a good fit. I think this is a good starting point.
And just to summarize that, maybe again, we're talking about AI. We're talking about ChatGPT and all that. So that's what I'm doing every day. When you do not really have the ideas or things, yeah, talk to a chatbot. Yeah, they help you with it already. That is insane. Yeah, just they help you do better AI. So they help you of coding. They help you coming up with concepts, with the whole thing, how to think about it in general phrases and all that stuff. So it should be not a problem without any help at a hackathon to already come to really cool stuff. Just sitting there, know exactly the basis, what I will have to look, and then exactly let me interact with the bots there, and they help me, and they can together as a team. So because I do not see it these days at I have to have fear from the AI development as a developer. I only need to know how to use them correctly. Yeah, and they help me getting even better, and let them do the gory details and can do really other very interesting more stuff, like exactly developing these concepts, how to connect different tools together. And this is, I do not need any mentor anymore. I have them already in the net. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, can't say it.
Thank you. Anyway, we are looking forward to see you there in the hackathon as a real mentor, as a human mentor, maybe in addition with some AI mentors. Thank you so much, Peter, for your contribution, for these insights, and yeah, thank you for everyone who participated. Thank you.
It was great having me. Thanks.
Thank you.